Do it. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Morning Minute podcast. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, certified family life educator, life coach, and founder of Empower Her Steps. This season, we're entering a powerful new series called Rooted, Restoring the Fruit of the Spirit, a journey into identity, healing, and spiritual growth. In this season, we're not just talking about behaviors or habits. No, friends, we are looking deeper into the roots of who we are, who shaped us, what wounded us, and how God restored identity one fruit at a time. Now, each of our episodes features real conversations with real people who have experienced the pruning, the stretching, and the storms, friends. Yes, the storms, but also the restoration of the fruit of the Spirit in their lives. And today I'm honored. Our guest is Dr. Robb Kelly, a recovery expert who believes in treating the root causes of addiction, not just the symptoms. With over 2 decades of research, lived experience, and national media appearances, Dr. Kelly has become a leading voice in addiction, trauma, and mental health recovery. Dr. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
I am excited to have you on the show. I'm excited to get to know you a little bit better. And just the heart of your story, really, as we, dive into conversations. But before we do so, let me ask you just to kind of get to know you a little bit and where you're at today. Tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe what season of life you're in right now.
My name is Dr. Robb Kelly, guys. I specialize in anything to do with psych, so restructuring brains, remapping brains, neural pathway redirection. So we deal with anxiety, depression, PTSD, alcoholism, addiction, Alzheimer's, that kind of stuff. We're over here in San Antonio, Texas, but we do have offices in Dallas, Manchester, England, Switzerland, and Spain. And we love doing this. I think I'm over 11,000 patients now throughout the time I've been doing this. Love everything we do. It's a family business. My wife works here. My daughter works here. It's just amazing. And we just love life and we love healing people.
Yeah, so let me ask, because I'm going through the neurosequential treatment model myself. I just started back in October. What kind of modality do you utilize in your facility?
Oh, it's a program we designed some
Sure.
years ago, probably about 10 years ago. It's used software. We use a lot of subliminal messaging with somatic experience, NLP, brain spotting. A lot of it is a daily routine. So you have to come and see us daily for 1 hour. Repetition, strength, and confirms when we talk about the basal ganglia. So yeah, it's about not only stopping you drinking or getting rid of the depression, but let's build a new life for you. So
Mm-hmm.
what we find is people with depression have lack of serotonin, and people with anxiety are future prepping into the future, which we can't do any of those. We're not
Mm-hmm.
successful at any of those, so we have to stay in the now. The program's built on, they thought the brain was hardwired years ago. We knew it. I knew it wasn't because of my own alcoholism. So we restructured and repatterned, and the behavioral science and the neural science behind it for us was a game changer. So it's specific for the Robb Kelly Group.
I love that. And you're right. So just in my own private healing journey through childhood trauma and whatnot, I have come to discover 13 years in child welfare and helping children themselves, just through the recovery process, that it is all brain development. It really is the root of things. So knowing that you're focused on the root causes and not just the symptoms, because I say this too, that behaviors, there's no such thing as a bad person or a good person. It's really just who they believe they are. So the root of those things and then how it wires the brain. So I love that. Also gives a beautiful picture of a starting point to understand who you are today as well. So let's get started in the heart of our conversation and let's just jump right into it. So when you think about the fruit of the spirit, what fruit is most connected to your journey right now, and what part of your story makes that fruit so meaningful?
The connection for me was a huge spiritual awakening on the streets. I had been homeless for about 14 months.
Wow.
On a dark, rainy night, I'd lost my children. I died twice on the streets during that 14 months, and they brought me back to life again.
Mhm.
And one morning, early hours, 2 or 3 o'clock. I had this spiritual awakening. It was crazy the way it happened. I met a guy called John who we could never trace. I mean, it was just a whole journey for about 3 or 4 months after that when somebody found me on the streets. Uh, I always look back. His name was Derek, who found me, and John was the guy that changed my life. So I hold on to them two names dearly because I always say to people, we're always healing 24 hours a day. If you speak to somebody, tell them for call, nod, say hi to somebody, we're healing other people as well as ourselves. So the fruit I'm taking from that forward is that if we could save a life today, we've done our job. And people go, well, you can't do it every day. Says who? See, the thing is, we don't know what people are going through. Hello, good morning, nice to see you. You will never know what that means to somebody. And 9 out of 10 times, guys, you're going to say at the right moment. The times we call people, I've called people up, hey, Jimmy, not seen you for age. Oh my God, I can't believe you called right now. I'm going through this. So be led. Always be led. Always be complimenting people. Always be the first guy on the elevator start talking when it's, hot, because people need to hear that. They really do.
And I love that you're sharing that because I agree with that. Every interaction, every moment that you're awake and you're encountering somebody is an opportunity for you to share a little bit of your peace, a little bit of your joy, your love. And you don't know what that's going to do to another person. But when you operate in the spirit of things, you understand that it's going to bless someone somehow, and sometimes it even bless you because sometimes there's a learning opportunity in those moments as well. So I love that you share that about yourself. So let's go a little deeper. You talk about being homeless for 14 days and having died on the streets twice. Walk us through what that past journey, that past experience was for you that has led you to what you are doing now. What was that big change that just hit you and you're like, okay, I can do better. We can do better.
So alcoholism took to the streets. I lost my 2 children. I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish a bottle of vodka.
Mhm.
And everyone threw me out. I was on the streets, uh, 14 months, I think it was. And then the morning of this incident, I'm dropping down to my hands and knees. It's pouring down with rain. I'm crying from my belly. I'm not crying because I've lost my wife, my children, my houses. I was crying because it's the first time in my life I realized I couldn't stop drinking. And I remember looking up to the sky in the pouring rain as I was sobbing. And I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. And 30 seconds later, a guy come around the corner. His name was Derek. Can I help you? Yeah. And took me back to his house. And he said to me, um, you can stay for as long as you like, Rob, but I can't have you drink. You've got to come to my AA meetings with me. I didn't want to go to them. I've tried them before, but I did. And I met a guy called John, who called himself a recovered alcoholic. And basically, he was my mentor for 12 weeks. He told me he wasn't going to sponsor me. Every 12 weeks, I left Derek at 6. I got there for 7. I stayed till 8. I got back for 9. That was my Wednesday for 12 weeks. I learned so much from that man about philosophy, about God, about alcoholism, brain stuff. Uh, and on the 12th day, he said things are going to change, which they started to the next day. And the information that he gave me, he kept telling me, you're a prophet, you're going to go around the world and heal people. I thought this guy was crazy, but he looks after me. So after my first, I got a job next day. After my pay packet came 2 weeks later, I went back to John's apartment and knocked on the door. There's no answer. So the woman on the right-hand apartment came out and said, can I help you? And I said, yeah, where's John? Is he still live here? I don't know any John. I've only moved in. I'm on night shift. So I went round to the left-hand side and knocked on his door. And I said, can you tell me where John has moved to? And he said, John who? I said, John, your neighbor. He said, there's no one living there. Natural fact, that apartment is derelict. And if you was to walk in, you'd fall 3 flights down and kill yourself. So I'm thinking these guys are crazy. So I go back to the meeting the next day where I first met John. And when I walked in, the chairman, Robert, it's great to see you. I'm like, thank God for that. I thought I was going crazy. Does John still come here? He said, John, who? I said, the guy I was over near the coffee machine was talking about every Wednesday night. And he said, and I quote, Rob, we thought you were praying because you were talking to yourself. We've never found that man. But the stuff that he taught me is the stuff we do today, and the reason why we have a 98%
Mm,
success rate.
mm, mm. And just in your story, like I can truly feel it in my own spirit. I've got all of the chill bumps going on and stuff like that.
Mm,
Divine intervention. I love it.
mm,
You know, that divine intervention because we sometimes it takes that miracle for us to even open our eyes, even at a rock bottom moment, to
mm.
even open our eyes to hearing that we need the change. Um, so, as this is presenting to you and you're going through the challenge of pruning and rewiring and all of these things that are going on, what were some of the roots that you found just within your own self that you had to really work on so that you could step out of this addiction and help lead others to recovery?
So the root causes of addiction are childhood trauma. It's the gateway drug. And most
Mm,
people miss that. So everything we do today goes straight back to our childhood, the way we were spoke to, the way we were treated, the area we grew up in. So everybody has childhood trauma. Let's get down to the root cause and conditions. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, and the same with every addiction. It's not the problem. I didn't have a drinking problem, I had a thinking problem. And when I went back and did my serious, proper childhood trauma, I was aghast of what I was put through. We grew up in a loving family, not much money, but the stuff that I went through, and the thing, one or two times my parents put me into places that were dangerous,
mm,
the more I could heal. Because if you don't heal that part, and it's in the subconscious brain, and what the brain does is it clocks you off from that. So you
mhm.
can't see or you can't feel what's there. You just know you can't keep a job, you can't keep a relationship, you're miserable, you're depressed, you're anxiety. All that stuff is hidden away. So what we need to do is dive deep into there, and we need to start pulling that trauma out. Now, you don't know it's there. So that's the interesting part for us is as we're pulling it out, you suddenly go, oh my God. Oh my parents used to drop us at their friends every Friday night. And there were other kids that was dropped there because this babysitter looks after everybody. They would go out Friday night and they'd pick us back up Saturday. The moment my mum and dad's car left their driveway, we had to play what was called a run around naked game, when all our kids used to get naked and the adults would chase us around and tickle us. I didn't know that was sexual abuse, but that affected my intimacy with women and authority figures from that day. And I had to go back and find out why. When I cleared that up, everything fell into place.
Wow. And I thank you so much for being so vulnerable and just transparent. I can tell that you are truly released from those past traumas in the way that you're able to discuss this very openly. And that's one thing that I want listeners to really grasp is that when we can really understand our story and articulate it in a way that it no longer hinders us emotionally, that's a step in the healing process and recovery for sure. Um, so as you are rebuilding your identity, right? You're having to rebuild who you think you are, who you believe you are, all these things. What were some of those tools or practices that you started to come in counter with to help your recovery and rebuilding your life?
It's all about repetition and strengthens of an idea or behavior going forward. Human beings are always in patterns. The brain works in set patterns all of the time, and we don't recognize that. So the slightest thing, we get people doing three things every morning. It's the morning routine. Will change direction of the mind and the brain. So the mind is the boss of the brain. Mind over matter. The brain's matter. If we
Mhm.
can program this guy first thing in the morning, can we not change the world? Yeah, of course we can.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
all about the mind, subconscious and conscious. I found out that one of the biggest healing tools for me, and I get all my patients to do this, is guys, write a book. Write a book. Go back, and it took me 3 years of writing little bits down from my wife and, voicemails, and she'd write it all down. In about 3 years, she'd come and said, here's the book. It was so healing, so healing. Because when we step away from this stuff and when we recover from the stuff we're going through, when we find our identity, we become very powerful people. There's nothing that you cannot achieve. Now, people make excuses up. Well, I can't do it. Says who? Let me tell you a real quick story. I'm not into politics. I don't care who's in charge. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I am American, but I don't care. We had a businessman several years ago running the country with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. Somebody's put that there.
No, and I agree because that was the biggest discovery too, is what were the childhood implants in my identity that I picked up through whatever it was that I experienced and believed so passionately about that hindered me from being successful. And that I love this because it aligns very much with my own personal mission, and even in my own nonprofit work, it aligns so much about understanding the roots of who you think you are, right? Who you believe you are, but you aren't, and who you can become. And that's the thing about rebuilding and rewiring the brain, because once you can unlock that, you definitely unlock your potential. You unlock anything that you want to create. And you're right, you don't need a degree, you don't need the experience, you just need the desire to want to do it. And you really can. Um,
The
so
other thing to that as well that people forget all of the time is when we have that spiritual connection, the brain is energy, can't touch it, feel it. It has to connect with another energy. We know that. That's a fact. When we have that, plus the neural pathways have changed in the way that we treat people, your DNA changes. It's ever so slightly, but it changes. And the lesson to learn from that is I'm not the same person as I used to be,
mhm,
So therefore, if you look at the DNA chain, you can never really go back to past behaviors because you've already only going forward. The key to this life is expect great things today.
mhm,
Oh, I don't think I can do that. Says no, stop saying that. I've
mhm,
done some crazy things in my life. So I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and I thought it was a great idea to build an English restaurant serving fish and chips and high teas next to our offices. And everybody said this: "You're in Texas. Yeah, what an English that's successful because it comes here. You can
yes.
do anything, guys, that you want to do. Because this is what I'd hate for you guys. I'd hate to get to the ages of 70 or 80, look back in your life and realize there was nobody watching and you really could have done anything you wanted to do. So do it, break free.
Absolutely, break free. Don't let it stop you. And truly, people say this cliche all the time. Age is just a number, but it truly is. It truly is just
Oh, God,
just a
yeah.
number. Yeah.
Yeah. If you start acting like, if you, so I'm 64, if you start acting like a 64-year-old, I'm on a walker, I can't drink properly, no, age, I'm not having age. I don't like it. I don't understand it.
Hmm.
But I dress like a 35-year-old. Everything around me is, I'm energetic. I keep moving. I do the things to keep your body, feeling good, the yogas, the
Yeah.
stretches, all that great stuff, and stop running off your age. We're not supposed to be 60s. 40s is the new 60s, the way we live today, with all the neuroscience that we know and tech that we have and GPL this and da da da. We can reduce our age psychologically.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, all of the time, if you haven't looked after yourself, your body's still going to look, like a 60-year-old maybe. But I've lost 150 pounds over the last 18 months because I got into the neuroscience behind it,
Yeah.
realized that I'm going to feel 64 if I weigh 320 pounds. So
Mm.
that had to go. So what do? We change it. We change it. So I'm down to like 215 now and I feel absolutely amazing. So now I look amazing, feel amazing. So I never feel my age. So yeah, you can do that 100%, guys.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. And we had another guest on the show, and his name was Dr. Chapa. And I need to get the two of you connected together because you guys, the energy, I just know you guys would vibe very well together. He has a great story too, and divine intervention as well that has happened in his life. Okay, so let's say, Dr. Kelly, if someone is out there in the middle of the rain on their hands and knees going, what next? How can I change? What do you tell that person if you were to encounter them today or they're listening right now? What's the word that you give them?
Oh, I've got a surprise for you. That's what I always say to them. Everybody can recover. Everybody's got a future. I love people that are at crossroads. I love men and women whose partners left, they're left with three kids in a broken down apartment. They say, I'm at a crossroads. We love crossroads. I don't care how low you are. I don't care how high you are. I don't care where you come from. I come from the project. You can make your life absolutely unbelievable. But the first thing I say to anybody with addiction tendencies or alcoholic tendencies, start dialogue with somebody.
Mhm.
Start dialogue with somebody who's positive. Because just like what we got told as children, what we get told today, show me your friends, I'll show you your future, is what we believe. So hang around the people that's recovered from whatever you're going through. Look at their lifestyle. And if you hang around them long enough, you'll become that person, you'll become that lifestyle. So if you hang around 9 depressed people, you're going to become the 10. So the mirroring part of the brain and our body language, we mirror each other all of the time. It's the biggest sales secret in the world. If
Mhm.
you go and want to sell someone at a bar, he gets fries, you get fries. He gets Coke, you get Coke. He crosses his legs, you cross it. It's all that mirroring part. Anybody can fully recover 100% from any psych stuff that you're going through. 100%. The brain is 100% repairable. You can be a 10 out of 10, like all my patients right now, and pass every single day. People say, you can't be happy every single day. And my answer is, says who? Who are you talking to that's telling you can't be every day? Because especially when you go to AA and you go, oh, be careful, telling newcomers you're on a pink cloud. I've been on a pink cloud for 30 years and I ain't coming off for nobody. So when you have that kind of attitude, and especially if you've been through kind of what I've been through, is what have you got to lose? It's like believing in God or, Buddha. Oh, well, I'm not too sure. But what are you going to lose? If you're wrong, you're wrong. But what if it's right? What if somebody is there looking over it? What if miracles are happening on a daily basis? So if you don't believe, you're not going to see any of them. But if you do believe, how, I can't think of the word. How stupid, nicely said, of me to think there isn't a power greater than me. There isn't something in the universe that's not directing all that. How sanctimonious is the word of me not to believe that? So I was stubborn like most people, but God is circumstantial. And I'll tell you this, when we were traveling home one day from Manchester to Dallas, Texas, we were on the plane. It was pouring down. It was lightning. It was all crazy stuff going on. But the pilot said we're still going to take off. And so we did. We're up in the air. I don't know, about 10 minutes. And the pilot come on. He said, keep your seatbelts. Saffron, we're going through some terrible turbulence right now. I apologize. And then about a couple of minutes later, you could feel the plane. And everybody held the side of the arm. You could hear things up on that plane. My
Yeah.
friend went over to him and he went, how many atheists do you think's on this plane right now? It's circumstantial. When you're ready to believe, you're ready to believe. Oh my God. Yeah, of course. When you're ready, you'll believe. Don't give yourself a hard time over that. Everything will come
Yes.
together, but stay positive all of the time. You can be happy every day. Give yourself permission to be happy every day and expect great things every day.
It's true. And you vibrate on a higher frequency when you do. And so
Mhm.
those things that work and you're looking for in your life to help you continue to grow definitely will be attracted to that vibration for sure. Um, I just think and your word is such a powerful reminder of that transformation doesn't begin with behavior. It definitely begins with a root. And over time, fruit will grow slowly, but it does take time and it takes pruning and it takes nurturing and it takes the storm sometimes to reveal what's beneath everything, the surface. Before we close, Dr. Kelly, I'd like to plant a final seed of encouragement for our listeners. So if you could leave listeners with a bit of truth to help them become more rooted in their identity and in the fruit of the Spirit, what would it be?
Find your identity, find out who you are. Most people's identity is in relationship, in work. The guy that's been at the same company for 50 years, all of a sudden gets let go or laid off. His identity is nothing. So the stuff we go through, the hardship, you lose your identity. Go find it, guys. Find out who you really are, whether you're a mom or been fired. Find out who you are. Find the passions that you want to do. And everybody has a niche in life. Once you find your niche and it's there, you'll live a life beyond your wildest dreams.
That's absolutely true. I think that was the biggest thing for me when I started my healing journey. My life coach said, "Who are you?" And of course, you go to all of the natural responses, right? Your name, what you do, your mom, the roles that you play in life. But when he started peeling those away bit by bit
Mm,
and really saying, "No, who are you?" Because your name is a gift given to you at birth. And the
mm,
roles you play, mother, sister, like those are all things that were designed for you when you were born. They were, through inheriting. If you're born into a sibling group, you have a sister, brother, whatever. If you choose to get married, you become a wife. If you choose to have children, you become a mother. But that's not who you are. Those are things that you do in life, right? So who are you? And that right there hit me so hard when I left that session. It really shook me up, but it woke me up as well. And I started to look at what it is that I want to do. What's my niche? And so I'm glad that you put that forward. Before we wrap up, Dr. Kelly, where can listeners connect with you if they want to learn more about your work and the things that you do?
So if you're listening, guys, and watching, I spell my name with two B's, ROBBKELLY.com. Any social media, any platform, any search engine, put Dr. Robb Kelly in. Up our pop, come friend us, come like us, we'll have some fun. And because I like you, there's a book out there because my children got taken off me. It's Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, guys. Don't buy it off Amazon. It's my daughter who works for me now after being estranged for 30 years. She's my lead therapist. Drop us a line. Hey, I remember seeing you and Angelina. Oh, Angelina, I remember seeing you and Dr. Rob. Send us a message. I'll give $5 away free. I'll pay the shipping. Enjoyed it. I'll sign it for you, especially for you. And then if you can give it to somebody else when you're done, that would be great.
Awesome. I believe in paying it forward. Absolutely. So, Dr. Kelly, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your heart, your healing, and the fruit that God is growing in your life. Your story reminds us that fruit of the Spirit isn't about perfection, it's about restoration. It's about allowing God to heal the roots so new fruit can grow. And to those of you out there listening, as you reflect on today's conversation, ask yourself, what fruit is God restoring in you right now? And what root is He trying to heal gently? I just want to remind everyone, growth takes time, but every seed planted in faith will produce fruit in due season. So friends, stay rooted, stay real, and stay growing. Until next time, I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.